Welcome back to another YouTube video, and this one's going to be a little bit different than some of the stuff that I've been putting out in the past. And I'm going to explain all of that in this video, why I transitioned into helping pharmacies, and really just kind of take you on the whole backstory to where it all started, where I am now, and obviously where I'm going. So, super excited to share this video with you. So, the title of this video is Why I Transitioned to Helping Pharmacies. And this is going to come a little bit out of left field, I'm sure, for a lot of you that have been watching my videos, following me for quite some time. What are you doing? Why are you transitioning? Why are you switching? All that kind of stuff. Um, and it's really more of a transition than it is a complete change in my business. I think you should always be listening and looking for ways that you can provide value and fill a market need. And I just felt that this was a better way of utilizing my skill set to fulfill a market need. I'm going to dive into that, what I've done since then, and really the results that we're bringing pharmacies and looking to continue to bring to pharmacies moving into 2020. So I want to take you guys back to pharmacies in general, how I got here, right? So a lot of you probably don't know, but I grew up in a family of an independent pharmacist. So my dad actually was a pharmacist, went to school to be a pharmacist much of my life growing up, getting dropped off at his pharmacy after school, riding the bus, all that kind of stuff. I was in a pharmacy a lot of my childhood. And while I was young, he ended up buying that pharmacy that he worked at. It was a small independent pharmacy, and since then has expanded it, changed locations, and added two other pharmacies, and has done quite well for himself. So I've been in the setting and know the day to day as well as the personalities, the problems, etc. of a pharmacy, right? And of an independent pharmacist. And so because I've spent so much time there, and because of the relationship that I have with my dad, it's led me to doing a lot of stuff for them. So initially, when I was early on in my marketing and advertising journey, things like that, I was spending a lot of time, obviously learning the field, learning the trade, learning how to do things. And fortunately, I had the opportunity to test a lot of things and try to put what I was learning into practice by doing it for my dad's pharmacy. And we had some success doing that at that time. I was working with two other individuals, kind of had our own different business. And we were testing a lot of stuff, like our first time running Facebook ads, our first time really creating sales funnels and stuff like that. And it led to a lot of cool opportunities that really were just all stemmed from that, right? And long story short, over this multi-year process of running ads for them and helping them, and obviously I've gotten significantly better at that whole side of things as time has gone on. But as my skills started to stack and I got better at things, I realized that I could provide and help a lot more than I had been. And really, up until this point, it was just standard. They have an event coming up, they have a promotion coming up, and I would just go in, set up an ad for them. It would be super simple, right? I wouldn't put too much thought into it. But in the spring of 2019, that really changed. And we had a much deeper conversation about how I can utilize my skill set to help more. And that's exactly what we did. So in spring of 2019, really May, right before I moved down here to Austin, Texas, my dad came to me and said, "We want to sell more supplements at our pharmacy. It's an area where we make money. We're a high volume, low margin prescription filling pharmacy, and we want to sell more supplements. We want to get into health coaching, all that kind of stuff. We want to get more into preventive pharmacy. I want to help more people before they get to the point where they need, or feel the need to, get prescriptions, pills, all that kind of stuff, right?" And so he said that to me, and he kind of explained some ideas and things that they had in mind. And the ball really started to roll, and it really started to, I guess, the wheels started to turn in my head of how I can help them because I knew that I could. It just took a matter of critical thinking and hammering out some ideas and in figuring out what they were capable of doing within their pharmacy with their staff, etc. So we stayed up for hours, and this is one of the last nights before I moved to Austin. It's one of my favorite memories. Honestly, it's probably one of the few times where my dad and I have sat down for hours and just talked business. But we stayed up pretty late, hammering out what we've done in the past, what hasn't worked, what we see within that niche, what works within that niche. And long story short, I just started to morph this program and start to build and build this program. And I'm going to explain it a little bit in this video, but it was awesome. It was really cool. And that night I stayed up early morning, got up, I started putting my ideas into place. And pretty much the very next day, and I believe it was the very next day, I came into their store and we had an in-store meeting with some of his top pharmacists as well as himself to talk about this program. They were kind of like the key leaders that we thought would be able to help orchestrate and implement the program with my, advertising and all that kind of stuff. And long story short, they loved it. So what I came in and did is I essentially just demonstrated how my program would work, how we were going to sell more supplements, and how we were going to get paid for health coaching and accountability, and just stop losing business ultimately to less qualified people who marketed better. Because in the weight loss space, there are a lot of sharks, right? There's a lot of people that are trying to sell supplements, whether it's weight loss or not, or just overall health, excuse me, that are selling a lot of supplements, and some of them are good and some of them are bad, right? And even the bad ones with good marketing were selling a lot of product and doing really well. And instead of going to a pharmacist for that information, who have deep understanding of chemistry and how things affect your body, they were just getting out marketed by their competition. That were just selling worse products, just made it sound better, and losing out on all that business. So after we had this meeting, um, I mean, it was awesome, but it was also a big moment for them because they realized that there's change ahead, right? Like, this was new. They didn't have a blueprint, right? We were kind of going into this tunnel where we didn't really know what was inside of it, right? We were making a change. I put together a program, and as time went on, I started to expand upon it. But it's not like we had blueprints of other pharmacies implementing this and it being successful, things like that. This was really just off of my teachings and my years of accumulating knowledge, and I guess being a little observant in the industry, and putting it all together in one program and saying, we think the market's going to want this based on all these different indicators. Let's put it in place and see what happens, right? And that's what we did. One of the things that we realized in that meeting, and I definitely realized, is how little pharmacies know about their competition and who they're actually competing with as they go into these different avenues of selling supplements, things like that. Who do pharmacies lose business to? Let's identify who those competitors are, right? So just to name a few, right? Pharmacies lose business if we're talking supplements, preventive health coaching, all that kind of stuff, to stores like GNC, supplement selling, brick and mortar stores, things like that, right? They lose business to gyms who sell supplements, clinics who sell supplements directly to their clients, their customers, as well as influencers, right? And a lot of times these influencers have good bodies, look good, all that kind of stuff, but oftentimes don't have the deep understanding, the years of experience, the biological knowledge that these pharmacists do, but they just market better, right? GNC, huge budget, markets pretty well. I know that as a business, they're not doing amazing, but if you go into a GNC store, they're decent salesmen, right? And a lot of these times, they're just high school kids, early college kids with no real deep understanding, but they just can sell pretty well. They know how to do decent customer service, and so they sell supplements, right? If we're talking clinics, right, pharmacists really can't get in there because these clinics can sell directly to their customers before they even get to pharmacists, things like that, as well as gyms obviously have access to a lot of people, and influencers, as I touched on. They just have pools of people that like them and admire them, and so they buy what they recommend. So a lot of this stuff, like a pharmacist, if you ask them who do you compete with in the supplement space, they could probably name one of these, maybe two of these, but they really don't know how far that expands, especially when you get into preventive health coaching, weight loss, any of that kind of stuff that pharmacists actually know a ton about and can help a lot with, but they're just not in the space, so they don't really realize how many players there are in it, right? So even after I identified these problems, and a lot of pharmacies could sit back right now and see these players in their space, they wouldn't be able to figure out how to solve that problem. First and foremost, they don't know who their competition is, but then they don't even know how to beat their competition or compete with their competition or get into that space, right? And so they're stuck in this place, really don't know where to go. And it's a horrible place to be in because you don't really know what you're up against, and then you also don't know how to compete with them even when you figure out how to go up against them, right? So that's really where I came in. I wanted to help them be branded better, be advertised better, and be fulfilled better than their competition, because that's what their competition was beating them at the moment. If we're talking branding, GNC is well branded for supplements. Influencers brand themselves in the fitness and weight loss, preventive health coaching space, right? Like, branding very on point, right? In a lot of cases, and pharmacists aren't branded as preventive health coaches. They're advertised and, kind of mocked as these individuals just hand out these pills that, maybe are or probably aren't very good for you. They just help kind of slow the problem, but they don't help fix the problem, right? And from an advertising perspective, pharmacists really never had to advertise. They don't go to school, they don't learn about it, they don't actively teach themselves it. Once they're in practice, and for a long time they didn't have to do it. But now, as the space evolves, as there's more sharks in the water, direct to consumer pill delivery services and things like that, now they're desperately trying to figure out this new part of their business that they've never had to look at in the past, and they don't have a ton of people to rely on or learn from, right? So it's really this big problem, and I'm still working on, continuously, but a solution I knew that I could provide a lot of value and improve a lot of things with the program that I was starting to put together with my dad's pharmacy. So what they didn't realize, and it was just something that they had to get over, is people pay hundreds of dollars per month for health coaching and supplements. They just don't do it at a pharmacy. And it's for all the reasons that I listed, before. And it's so crazy for pharmacies to, realize that and think, oh my gosh, what if we got them at our business? What if these customers came to us instead of other people? That would be really cool. Okay, so how do we do that? And what are we going to do on top of that? How do we get them to pay that or maybe even pay more, right? So it's really just like this crazy concept. But again, even when they thought about all these different topics, they weren't sure how to do just that, right? It sounds all cool in theory, but how do we get there, right? They try events, they try local pop-ups, they try in services and things like that, and nothing works. And if it does, it's very minimal, and it's not a good use of their time, considering what pharmacists' times are worth, as well as the return on that time. So many different reasons that I could dive into. My dad didn't even realize we could get people to pay us hundreds of dollars a month for health coaching and supplements. It was a completely foreign concept, but it was something he was obviously super excited about. Over the past 6 months, I kind of came to this realization that these pharmacies need my help, not only just my dad, but there's a big problem here and there's a big need to be filled here because there's a ton of pharmacies, there's a ton of pharmacists going into practice. It's this huge, big, multi-billion dollar industry, if not trillion dollar industry, right? And there's this huge problem that no one that I can see knows how to solve this. And it's like, I think I know how to solve this problem. If I can solve this problem, this is going to be worth a lot and help a lot of people. So I kind of started to ramp up the research that I was doing, the time that I was dedicating to my program, how I was building it, all the things I was going to wrap really all into one. And as time went on, it started to get me pretty excited, right? Because as I talked about in the beginning, this really was a transition. This is me taking all the information that I've ever learned, that I've already spent time learning about, and just funneling it into one place. Whereas some of the things that I was doing in the past, I was using portions of what I knew, but not everything, because I wasn't able to with the client relationships, the businesses that I was working in, etc. I just couldn't. But this was one of the few, if not the only, opportunity that I had discovered or that I had put thought into to where I can just pour everything I have into one program. So it became really, really exciting because all the stuff that I wish I could have explained to other people or taught other people and I didn't in the past, I could now. So I just went really deep into working on this program. And that's why nobody knows about it. I continue to work on it, every single day. And it's going to be really special when it's, completed and as we continue to expand into it. So just to kind of go over some things that, that I haven't been able to do in a lot of other, businesses that I've been working with is I get to put all my sales strategy, my lead generation, my lead nurture, my fulfillment, my automation, my sales scripts, my high ticket services, like how to create this high ticket service, how to sell a high ticket service, building a tribe, all those kind of things, and really so much more, all into one program. And it was just like, oh my gosh, every book I've ever read, every conference I've ever attended, every course I've ever bought, everything I've ever learned in this space, I get to just push it all into one place. It's just years and years and years and thousands upon thousands of dollars of education that I've done over these past few years, and now I got to pour it into one place, and it was really cool. So, long story short, build this program right over May, June, July, August, September. I'm building this program in the background, and my dad's kind of, I'm having meetings with him and some of his staff, but a lot of times it was just me in the dark working on my own, like putting things in place and then presenting it once I got there, just on obviously what I thought would work. I'd get feedback on what they were capable of doing, and then okay, we move forward, right? And so in September of 2019, we launched the program, And to be quite honest with you, the results shocked me. And it really led me even further down this path of realizing this is a huge market need. The offer works, the program works. Now let's really take this thing to a whole nother level. This was an entirely new program. It was unlike anything else in the pharmacy marketing. We didn't have any testimonials. We didn't have any sales staff or educated, true sales staff. We didn't have any results, and this was a high ticket program. So if we look at all those different scenarios, right? New program, we're not exactly sure what the market fit would be. Unlike anything else in pharmacy marketing, so we didn't really have anything to reference it, say okay, this kind of works, so this should work. We had no testimonials for this program. We had an inexperienced sales staff that has never really done true sales. We had no results, kind of like no testimonials, and it wasn't cheap. If we look at that, it doesn't sound like it's going to perform pretty well, but I want to show you what the results were, what we ended up paying, and just the results that we ended up getting. This was the screenshot that I took in the ad account of what we paid for the leads for this program. So basically what we did is we ran a Facebook ad, lead generation, drove it to a landing page, split tested that, but drove it to a landing page, long story short, collected contact information, had an automated scheduler option on the thank you page, and then we had some automation to help get these people in the door. So we collected 225 leads, if you're looking at the data here, and we had to shut the campaign off to deal with fulfillment in 24 hours. Within 24 hours, we had 225 leads, and they were coming in all throughout the night nonstop. I had the email set up to where I kept getting every notification of every new lead, and it was just like, I need to delete all these emails. Like, this is too much, right? It was crazy. And we had to shut off the campaign because we didn't know the numbers or the expectations. And so we only had truly one person trained to do these sales sit downs. We thought maybe, okay, 50, 60, 70 leads, like that would be solid. We'd be happy with that as a higher ticket program. Great. But we got 225, right? And we only paid 31 cents per lead. That's how amazing this offer sounded to the market, right? And we only reached 3,500 people. It's not like we had this huge pool of people. And again, we got 225 leads, paid 31 cents per lead, and the average sale of the program was $450. It's not bad, right? And we'll dive into exactly what those numbers were. So let's go in and look at the numbers and details of really what this program brought in. So 225 leads collected in 24 hours. As I said, we paid less than $70 total for these leads at an average of 31 cents per lead. We auto scheduled 71 of these leads on the landing page. So on the thank you page, after they submitted their contact information, we had a automated scheduler, Acuity scheduler. They could put in a time if they wanted to sit down with us, and 71 of the 225 leads did so, right? So we got 71 people to schedule without having to contact them, right? Think about that. That's a lot of time offset just right there. That's not even talking about some of the automation and things that we did after that. We sold an average ticket of just under $600 for less than 2 months of service. This is after getting people into the program and then the upsells within the program. So they paid $450 up front on average, and then within the program, they spent an extra $150 on some of the services, supplements, things of that nature, etc. This was done in a low income town with an average household income of $45,575, right? Which is below the national average. The average person in my hometown makes a little over $27,000 a year, I believe. And you can just run the math on that. So not a high income area. This is an area where, everyone's walking around with nice cars and, jewelry on their wrist. This is not a high income area. And yet we still sold at this average ticket of $455 or $450 up front, and they got them additionally to spend more money within the program, right? And it was all in a town of about 7,500 people, and we only reached 3,500 within the first 24 hours. And part of that is because we actually targeted women only, so there's definitely some opportunity on the other side that we didn't explore. The numbers were not, exactly in our favor when we take a look at all that data between low income, small population, things like that. It's not like we had everything stacked up and oh my gosh, of course this program did well, like everything makes sense. No, that wasn't it at all. And yet it did do so well, which was super exciting because now we can almost take that other markets, other income levels, things like that, and know that if it can work in my hometown in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, it can work just about anywhere in the United States, or at least we feel confident enough that it can, right? So that was a huge aha moment for me as these leads are pouring in. My dad's getting super excited. He's telling all these people, right? I was like, holy shit, I, I solved the problem here. Like there's some real opportunity here. So obviously that sounds great, but what did the customers think? And what did the industry think? Right? So a couple things. In the last 30 days, the program really came to an end in the past 30 days, and the customers loved it. So it was a weight loss centric program. That was kind of how we shaped and molded the offer. And the average customer lost almost 11 pounds in 6 weeks working with our pharmacist. And that's not just like, hey, eat no food, exercise, and all day long, right? That was giving them true quality health recommendations with proper supplements that were specific to each individual. We had individuals breaking down crying, so happy about the results, not only with losing weight but being able to sleep, feeling better energy levels, things like that. Just super happy with everything that we were able to do, which was obviously very fulfilling for me. Even though I just brought these leads in the door, to be able to equip the pharmacists in that staff with these individuals that they could help was just an amazing feeling, because if I didn't do that, that opportunity doesn't present itself. And obviously these pharmacists can't help these people because the opportunity just isn't there. The results obviously are perked up some ears in the industry. My dad's a part of a pharmacy network, and through that network there's been a number of different pharmacies that have shown interest in the program just off of the results that we brought from my dad in my hometown. I'm talking drug representatives I've been in contact with, other pharmacies, pharmacy networks and chains, as well as specialists in the field, right? So it's brought this whole new wave of people towards me and my business in this program that are extremely interested in implementing the program. How do I do this program? How'd you get these kind of results? This isn't normal in pharmacy. Like, we've been looking for something like this for a really, really long time. And this is something that, I spent 6 months working on, but if I'm being 100% honest, I didn't pour everything into it because I wasn't sure the results I was going to bring for my dad. So I didn't want to pour everything into it when I was already doing and servicing other types of clients. So, now that I know this, my attention and where this program is going towards is just, incrementally, improving as time goes on. So really, why am I telling you all this? Like, why did I make this video? I don't really have to make this video. You could just see my ads or, see the program as it grows, and see me talk about it online. But I wanted to make this video for you for a couple of reasons. Whether you are a pharmacy, a pharmacist, pharmacies, regardless, I think this video is applicable to anyone. So here's a couple, takeaways that I have after creating this program. So first things first, listen to the market. If I didn't listen to my dad, if I didn't listen to his complaints, things that they were trying to improve, I wouldn't have gotten to this place, right? But that was all possible because I put in the hours and hours and hours to educate myself to even be able to have that conversation with him. And then after having that conversation, being able to solve that problem, right? So that's all built up into one thing, but it still comes down to listening to the market and listening for problems. The second one is obviously solve real problems. Solve problems that matter. The bigger the problem that you solve, the more you will get paid for it. At the end of the day, solving problems is what gets you paid. You're solving an issue that someone has for someone. Instead of dealing with it themselves, instead of trying to figure it out on their own, instead of them taking longer to get to the result, they hire you to help them do it faster, more efficiently, and just take care of it for them, right? That's what you're getting paid for. Lastly, I say this all the time, but your title doesn't matter. I'm not a pharmacist. I've not worked in a pharmacy other than being a pharmacy tech for a summer in high school, right? So I'm not a professional in this field, but yet I solve the problem that pharmacies and pharmacists and pharmacy owners want to pay for. Again, if you solve a problem, your title does not matter. I have not been asked in any of my clients, businesses, etc., about my background in education. If you know what you're doing and you know what you're talking about and you know how to speak and present that, you will not have an issue, right? And I cannot be more clear about that. I'm not a pharmacist. I do not own a pharmacy. I'm not, in nature, in theory, qualified to teach this, but yet here I am, and here I am being paid for it, right? So take that away, take that with you after, this video is over, and realize that you can do anything if you know what you're talking about, right? If you can solve a problem, you will be paid for it regardless of your title. And again, no one cares. No one asks. How you present yourself will dictate your level of respect for you, right? If you're stumbling over your words, things like that, of course, no one's going to pay you or trust you or respect you or believe that you know what you're talking about. But if you're confident, you know what you're talking about, people will listen to you, and I promise you that. So at the end of this video, I'm just going to make this last slide for you. If you are a pharmacy owner, if you know a pharmacy owner, either one, it does not matter. I have more information at growthfarm.com. That is the name of the business, growthfarm.com. You can go there, submit some information. We can talk further. Otherwise, follow us, like us on Facebook. We have our own Facebook there. And then I also created a free Facebook group for pharmacies. I'm going to be posting not only this video, but other videos, trainings, things like that. Just free information to help pharmacies out in marketing, advertising, sales, selling more supplements, all that kind of stuff. Just really create a community of people that know what they're doing, that are having success, and can help share that with other people. So again, if you're a pharmacy owner, if you know a pharmacy owner, direct them there. Let's get started there. You can learn more about what we're doing, and maybe we can implement this at your pharmacy. So I really want to thank you for watching this far in the video. I want to thank you for giving me your time, and I hope that you learned a lot in this video. And I'm super excited to continue down this path, and I hope you guys are excited to watch me do it. So take care, and you'll see another video really soon.